everyone, it's Kim Rankin with Rankin Lux Real Estate. I'm here with Ray from Northpointe Bank, and he's going to touch a little bit about the $10,000 down payment assistance that's coming out next month, and also the all-in-one program. And I'll touch on a class that we have coming up as soon as he gets through talking.
All right, well, first of all, thank you for having me here, Kim.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it and love the office and the sign. It's
Thank
beautiful.
you. Thank you.
But what I wanted to touch base on today is our program. It's called the HOP program, which stands for Home Ownership Program. And it's something that we're offering in the form of a $10,000 grant that can go towards down payment or as well as closing costs. There are a few stipulations such as income-wise and as far as for minimum contribution, which I believe is $1,000 from the home buyer. But in the scheme of things, $1,000 for you to own a home and get your keys is not a bad trade.
Right, that's not bad at all.
But as far as for it's a first-time home buyer thing. But by first-time home buyer, it doesn't mean that you could have never owned a home before.
Okay.
So what we consider a first-time home buyer is someone that has not owned a home in the last 3 years.
Okay.
But if you're someone that only owned a home with a spouse and you all recently divorced, you can still qualify for this.
Okay.
So it's a program that the money and the funds begin to be released on March the 3rd. But we get everyone in line now so that if you're looking for a home and you were trying to figure out how to make things work, you should get in touch because we're putting people in line now so that when they do become available, they can start giving them out. So
do
you
you
don't
know
have to
how
wait.
much like total they have to give away? Like what's the grand number for that 10K per person?
Well, that's the thing with us here at Northpointe. We always say this is what the number's going to be.
Okay.
But in our time being there, we've never had a time where we're like, all right, we're not going to let. So it's one of those things where we say there's a certain amount available, but as it gets closer, our program, the banks that we work with, they want to make sure that everyone that can take advantage of it is able to. So it's one of those things, it is on a first come, first served basis. But I would say that if it's something that's interesting you and you're interested in it, talk with us and we'll try to make sure to reserve you something. And once it's done, we will let you know. But like I said, since we've been there, we haven't had a time where we set someone into there and they're like, oh, I'm sorry, too bad.
Oh,
so it's one of those things where we try to get everyone in so that way the bank can see the demand for it, the need for it, because it's all about helping people become homeowners. And it's a nationwide program. So it's something where we're trying to really help those because this is the biggest investment that most people make in their lives.
Right.
And this is really the first step in trying to have generational wealth and by means of being able to pass on assets versus debts, which is something that's very big and it's something that's very important to me. And a lot of people that I work with and I talk to help them realize that when they say, well, you know what? Home ownership has these expenses and I got to do this and I got to do that. Well, that is true. But also when you look at it this way, when people are saying, you know, rates are high right now, well, if you're renting, your rate's 100%.
It is, yeah. You're giving 100% of rent to your landlord.
Exactly. So if it's a case where you can find a home, something that you can make your own. There's nothing like walking into your own home, knowing that this is yours. No one can tell you what to do.
You can paint it any color you want to.
Exactly.
You can get a dog if you want to.
Exactly. You can go as wild as you want within reason.
Right.
But it's something that's a great program, and we really want to stress those that may have been wanting a home, but just weren't able to build up the funds needed to do down payment or closing costs. And even for those that this program may not work for, we at Northpointe Bank, we actually do have 100% financing.
Okay.
So if that's not a chance, then we can also look at that venue and see. So there's ways that I can get you into a home with little to no money out of your pocket. I mean, I've closed a loan for someone that literally came to the closing with no money out of their pocket.
Wow. Where can you go and get a home for nothing?
Exactly. And if you have a realtor like Kimberly on your side, she'll get you some sales concessions to take care of those other costs that normally you have to deal with.
And the good thing is right now you can get those. You know, if you're smart about it and you start looking now before the market gets crazy, your real estate agent, me, we're going to be able to get you closing costs. We're going to be able to get you, a home warranty, things like that that we couldn't get in 2020 and 2021 because the demand was just so high.
Exactly, because I've been seeing a lot of contracts come through with those seller concessions.
Oh, yeah.
And that makes a big difference.
It does.
Because at that point, you may have set aside these funds to do that. Now there's that new couch in that area that you were looking at in the home when you saw it.
Right.
So there's a lot of different ways to make the home buying process not as stringent and not as stressful.
Yeah.
But the main thing is make sure you talk with a real estate professional such as Kim that has the expertise, has been doing this, and knows exactly how to do it. I mean, you don't get a signage like that and not know what you're doing.
Absolutely. And another question, so you have to be pre-approved, right?
Yes.
So you need to go ahead and get pre-approved with Ray, and you have to have a contract on a house, am I right, to be able to get submitted for that $10,000?
That is correct. So we
Okay.
can do everything on the pre-approval side to get you in line, but we cannot officially put you on that list until there's a contract. And as Kimberly said, the market right now is heating up.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't really make a lot of sense to wait.
Right.
Because number one, we don't know where we're at in this market as far as for home values. So if you're someone that says, well, I'm going to wait until these rates start to come back down.
Right.
Well, that sounds good, but in theory, but what happens if you wait for that home that was $200,000 and now that home is $300,000 and yeah, you have a lower rate, but your payment's still higher because the home's $100,000 more now.
Right.
So that's why it pays to talk to a real estate professional. I know there's a lot of TikTok videos and Facebook videos out there that try to tell you this is how you should do it, and you're talking a lot of these people are people that are buying homes in cash.
Oh yeah.
And they're not looking for loans or they have other means to do it. So don't allow someone that doesn't know your situation to dictate how you should do things, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you definitely got to talk to a professional. You definitely need to talk to a loan officer such as Ray to like look at your credit, see what your finances is. That way he can get you your pre-approval and you can start looking. Your pre-approval is big. I can't show you houses unless we know where your pre-approval stands, because I might be showing you houses way above your means or way below your means, but he's going to give you an exact number as to what you can buy for.
Exactly. And another thing about pre-approvals. So I know there's a lot of places you can go online, a lot of big box banks, you can do this and get this quick pre-approval. But unfortunately, in this real estate market, especially here in Louisville, there are certain places that if they see a pre-approval from certain places, that offer may not get accepted because they know that they'll probably never be able to get in contact with someone to find out what's going on. They're out of state. They don't have the best track record of coming through on the loans that they pre-approve.
Right.
So that's why it's best where you can talk to someone that actually is invested in this for you, that actually answers the phone for you, and that actually takes the time to explain things, because
that's a big thing, because we as real estate agents and loan officers, most of us work nights and weekends, and if I can't get a hold of my loan officer and they say they don't work nights and weekends, I can't work with you, because that's when we're looking for houses. So it's really good to have somebody that that's going to answer the phone.
Exactly. And number one, the home buying process is stressful in itself.
Oh yeah.
There's no way that I'm going to paint rainbows and unicorns telling you that it's going to be 100% breezy and easy, no worries, because there's going to be parts that are stressful.
Yeah.
Not because the process in itself is hard, but because a lot of times this may be the first time you've bought a house, or you haven't done the process in the last 5 or 6 years and things have changed.
Right.
So for me, I understand that I do this daily, and I may see things as not a problem, but that person that this is the one time they're buying a house, they're not understanding what's going on. So communication is the best way to make the process easy and not as stressful as it can be. So when I say that, and Kim can back me up, there's people that I've worked with that she's referred to me that will tell you, Ray answers the phone. And if he doesn't, he sends me a text message and says, hey, I'm doing this, can I call you back?
Right.
And it's nights, it's weekends, much to my wife's chagrin. There's times where, I'll step away from dinner, hey, shoot this quick message, or I give a quick call.
Right.
Because the questions that you think are the biggest questions are not as big as you may think. So all it takes is that 5 or 10 minute quick phone call. Hey, this is why this is this way.
Right.
This is what we need, and this is why we need it, to ease that, a little bit of reservation and to help us all get across the finish line, because at the end of the day, we all want you to get the keys to the house.
Absolutely. That's the big celebration at the end. That's the reason we're doing what we're doing, is so you and your family get a piece of the pie, something to leave to your kids. Also, Ray, I know we have a class coming up, March the 11th. We're having a class. It's we're going to have Colleen English from English Law Group. She's going to be discussing will planning, estate planning, things like that. If you haven't done that, very important. Colleen actually helped me and my husband with our will and our estate planning, something to think about. Ray is going to be touching on another program at this class. It's called the All-in-One program. It's something me and my husband just did to get our house paid off a little bit sooner. And so I'm going to let him touch on a little bit, but if you're interested in coming to the class, I'm going to put something in the comments under this video, and you just shoot me a quick message and I'll send you the link to register. We're going to have a brunch that day. It's free. It's totally free to come in and learn. So we would like to maybe see you there if you're available, but I'll let Ray touch on it just a little bit.
All right. Well, the all-in-one program is, it's one of these programs that when you introduce it to someone the first time, it's kind of hard to understand the concept, because it truly is one of those, this must be too good to be true scenarios. So it is basically what is known as an offset mortgage. And it's so different from the way we do mortgages here in the United States, but in Canada, in Australia, in Europe, England, this is the way they handle their mortgages. And to give you a quick synopsis, because this is going to be something I go into a lot more detail in the class wise, but what it does, it allows you to treat your mortgage and your personal finances as one account. So what that means is, as of right now, typically the only way you can access that equity that you have built up in your home is if you do a refinance and pull the cash out at one time, or if you add a second mortgage and have 2 loan payments and pull that cash out, whether it's a fixed second or if you did a home equity line of credit. So what the all-in-one does, it allows you access to the equity in your home 24/7. But when you get paid each month, so the money that you bring in, you put into this all-in-one account. And it sits in there as if it's a bank account, but everything that you deposit goes right towards the principal balance on your mortgage. So just to use simple math for a quick scenario. So let's say that you owe $200,000 on the home and your monthly income is $8,000. Okay, so when that $8,000 goes into the account, your account balance now on your mortgage is $192,000. But then you're allowed to take out your expenses, so car note, groceries, electric bill, things like that. So let's say that's $2,500 of that $8,000. So now your balance went back up that $2,500. So now it's $194,500. So in that scenario, in 1 month, you took your balance from $2,000 to $194,500, and then you'll have a one-time interest come out, and that will probably on that be about $1,000. So now you're at $195,500. So in 1 month, you brought your principal down $4,500.
Yeah, and I'll contest to that. We just signed up. We closed in December, January.
Yes.
I think since then our mortgage has went down $14,000 or $15,000. The principal balance.
And if you look at a amortization schedule on a traditional mortgage, even if you have a 2.5% rate on a 30-year fix, to pay down $14,000 or $15,000 in your mortgage principal is going to take minimum 8 years. So you're able to accomplish something in months that would normally take you years. But at that same time, if something was to arise, like let's say, God forbid, the basement floods, everything's ruined, you got to replace this, and that. Instead of worrying about, now I have to pull money out of here, I got to move money here, now I have this tax penalty for taking this money out of this, you can just use the equity that you have built up in there, and knowing that you're going to pay it back down at a faster rate. So this basically gives you the ability to get that financial hump off your shoulder, so to speak. And on average, I've taken people that owe 27 to 22 years left on their mortgage, and they're paying theirs off in 5 years or less. So just think about that, being home owned, free and clear in 5 years, but still having that access to go. And if you wanted to make an all cash offer on another home to start your investment portfolio, you can do that. Because it's your money, it's your equity, and it's available to you. And for those that own investment properties, it's almost a no-brainer, because there's no expenses that come out of it. You just put whatever your rent is that you get there, and you can watch your investment property become self-sufficient, because the principal's going to go down so fast. But also, we know with some tenants you may have maintenance you have to do, or fix some things.
Something.
Exactly. Well, now you're not pulling into your personal coffers to do so. You just use the equity in that investment property, and it makes the property self-sufficient.